The thoughts can change your life with me, Reverend Lee. Today, I thought I'd start off with, what if you knew? What if you really knew? You're wondering, where am I going with this? What if you knew there was a power in you that responded to the nature of your thought? What if you truly knew that there was a power in you that responded to the nature of your thought? Would you keep thinking the way you're thinking? Or would you invest your time, your energy, your feelings, your words, your thoughts, your actions into creating a new way of thinking to see if this power responded the way we think it does? This is what all the great philosophies, spiritualities talk about. They talk about it is done unto you as you believe. Here's the thing. No one believes it is done unto you as you believe. You're saying, well, sure we do. We've heard that in the great spiritual books. We believe that. If you believe it, why aren't you doing it? Why is it that a majority of people have about 60,000 thoughts every day? And they think the same thoughts over and over and over again. And they relive the same experience over and over and over again. Do you think maybe we have become so numb, so domesticated, brainwashed, so to speak, that we can't see that our thoughts create our experience? It must be the case, because if we knew our thoughts created our experience, wouldn't we change to create a different life, a life greater than what we could ever imagine? Would we begin to start imagining? Would we be working on, wait a second, I need to spend a lot of time creating imagination. I need to imagine my life different than it is. See, but most people can't imagine their life different. They can't imagine it because their mom and dad had that life, their uncles and aunts had that life, the people around them had that life. That's what's called living in a ghetto. Living in a ghetto is with people that have like ideas. And when you're in that ghetto with people with like ideas, unless you come out of that ghetto and you don't think new thoughts, you're going to have the same experience. It's real clear that, for example, my mom was an immigrant from Sicily, came over when she was 12. My father came from parents who came from Poland. And so they did not have a high education. My dad was a fireman, my mother a housewife. But my parents did something. They moved out where everyone else was living. They moved out of Detroit, out of Hamtramck, Michigan. And they moved into Dearborn, Michigan. Very different environment, Dearborn. So my brother and I, my sister, we were all raised in a city that was pretty upscale. We were in the poor part of town, the inexpensive homes, but we went to school with people who were very affluent. And because of that energy, we began to think differently. And because we began to think differently, and let me just say me, well, let me say we began to think differently. I went to college. I became a corporate type of worker. I moved from Detroit to 5 or 6 different cities in that area. Then I went to Rhode Island, then down to Tampa, then Rhode Island, then down to Dallas. That was unheard of in my family to relocate. What was also unheard of was my mom and dad leaving. And they ended up leaving when they were in their mid-50s and went to Maui. And you say, how could they do that? They thought differently. They believed it was possible. My dad didn't believe it was possible. My mother did. My mother said to my dad, either you think differently and come with me or I'm leaving you behind. Well, he had no choice. He had to think differently. And when they thought differently, my dad was retired longer than he worked. He collected his pension longer than he worked. He retired at 54 and he lived till 92. That's a new way of living. But they had to think new thoughts. And that's something as I mature in life, I'm constantly challenging myself to think new thoughts because I understand unless I do, I'm going to keep living the life over and over again. I know some of you have been following me on social media know that I'm really all about cold tubs right now. And people say, well, why are you doing that? And a lot of my friends from the past go, that's stupid. You're crazy, Lee. You're crazy. Yeah, I am. But for me, as I investigate, I realize that going in a cold tub has tremendous benefits to my body. And what I end up doing when I think something's good for me, I stack the benefits. Listen to this. This is a great tool. I stack the benefits. And the more I stack the benefits, the more I create a reason to think differently. Did you just hear what I said? This is a clue. I stack benefits to entice myself, to convince myself to think differently. And when I think differently, I create a new thought atmosphere. When I create a new thought atmosphere, things get done and things change. I was asked the other day on the coldest day, did you go in the cold tub? And I said, obviously, you don't know me very well. Because when I make up my mind, I do it. And the answer, if you're wondering, did I go in the cold tub? Of course. Are you wondering if it's going to be just as cold today? Yesterday, the tub had ice on it. And I had to break the ice, and the temperature in the water was 32. Just right at the point of freezing below the ice. Today, it's the same thing. Will I go in today? Here's the answer. Of course. What else would I do? I've convinced myself it's good for me. And what I love is yesterday, my dog proved it. And you say, what do you mean, Lee? I said, she normally goes outside and lies on the concrete. Yesterday, she went out and lied on the ice. Because intuitively, she knew that cold relieves the inflammation she felt in her body. See, nature has so many things, and we've just turned off to nature instead of embracing nature and making nature our friend. Being out in the woods, just being peaceful, the best meditation you can do. Being in the elements, letting your body experience life the way it was meant to, not always being sitting in a chair in front of a monitor. Get out and move. Think new thoughts. Here's a new thought. If you move, your body will be healthier. Think about that. Your body will be healthier if you move. Your life will take on a whole new dimension when you think new thoughts. Surround yourself with people that think outside the box. Surround yourself with people that get you to question. When you do, you're opening yourself up to a more expansive life. And my friends, a more expansive life leads to a fulfilled life. And that's the greatest part of this journey, feeling fulfilled. With that, I've told you. Now you know. You can't hide anymore unless you choose to. Until then, till next time, make it a great day. Love you so much. Aloha.